As we emerge from the 10 darkest weeks of the year, do we really need to follow a bunch of brand new resolutions? The nice thing is, past Karen has already made a bunch of great decisions that I simply have to carry forward into 2026. These 10 tips are basically topics that you can evaluate and incorporate into your own life. We're all different, so I'm not promoting any specific way to be. I would just recommend you be sincere and commit to living your own life the best way you can. And I'll continue to do the same. Number 1 is considering food as fuel. Now, I seem to be one of those rare folks who emerged from millennial life. That would be the early 2000s, and when I was in high school and college, without disordered eating. And I don't say this lightly. The statistics are very alarmingly high for people having eating disorders and other conditions which are lifelong and interfere with how they interact with food. But this past year, I've really taken to heart that food is fuel for your activities, and not just your fitness and gym activities, but if you are someone who sits at a desk a lot and has a lot of heavy concentration work that you have to do on the regular, yeah, you want to adapt your diet for that. A great book I read last year was Fitter, Healthier, Happier by a kind of a person with a background I didn't expect, kind of an Essex soccer wife, but she had a lot of good tips, Kate did, so I'll show you the book here. And it had recipes, fitness basics, and helped me reframe how I thought about both eating and fitness, which I'll touch on a little later in this video too. Number 2 is a bit more fun and a little less harrowing than diet and fitness and body issues. It is collecting physical media. Now, I don't need to be encouraged to collect more physical media. I have many books, which you'll know if you've hung around this channel at all. I do have a Kindle and have read ebooks and use audiobooks as well, but my main format is physical books. I'll never probably replace them or not see a need for them. But again, I'm a millennial. So there was a time 10 or 15 years ago where we thought, oh, we don't need CDs anymore. We don't need DVDs anymore. We have streams, we have downloads. But guess what? It's hard and it's expensive to stay subscribed to a bunch of streaming services. I mean, if you want to just make a list of shows you're interested in watching, you could be paying $50, $100 a month just to watch different shows. At the moment, I manifested, this was my first experiment, I manifested finding season 1 of Charmed at a thrift store, and lo and behold, there it was, a charmed life I live. Literally dust off my DVD Blu-ray player and we're away. Number 3 is a bit more of a tough one. It is failing at challenges and goals more often. Now, I laugh because I'm someone who doesn't like failing. I mean, who does? But I'm also someone who sets themselves high standards and is interested in doing a lot of things all the time. So it's hard to achieve everything that you set your mind to. And you know what? That's okay. Again, I'm going to use a book example. Last year, I wanted to read 52 books. I read 28. It's fine. I mean, would I have read 28 books if I hadn't set a goal at all? I mean, maybe. But did I push myself sometimes to read that many because I knew I was working towards a goal? Absolutely. Of course not compare yourself to other people. Say if they read 100 books a year, great for them. You don't know their life, you don't know their priorities. I'm leaning in, I'm stewing in my failures. Number 5 is to fully use my community fitness center. I've mostly been taking group classes. Just before Christmas, I decided that I needed to use the gym, the actual gym. They actually have multiple gyms with tons and tons of equipment, machines, weights, to do more of my own programs. It's great to show up for group classes, especially the ones that I enjoyed the past year, swimming and yoga. The overall goal is to use more of the facilities that I'm already paying to be a member of. Number 5 is leave events and gatherings early. I'm laughing because this is probably another one for my neurodivergent folks. where we think that if maybe an invitation says this is an event that goes from 4 to 6, you have to stay from 4 to 6, not you should arrive when you want to and leave when you want to. I absolutely do enjoy spending time with my friends, my family, people I'm just getting to know, being part of communities. But again, I realize I don't need to be at everything for the entire set number of hours. I can just say a short goodbye. You know, you shouldn't come and stay for 5 minutes, but if you're there for an hour, people are just gonna remember you're there. Like in 6 months, they're not gonna remember like, oh, you were only there for an hour versus 3 or 4 hours. You're just gonna be there. You're gonna be part of something. People understand, and you have to trust yourself and other people to understand your social and energy needs. And that's something I'm really deeply internalizing. Number 6 is let systems work. These systems I'm referring to are life administration systems. That sounds a little complicated or abstract, but I simply mean your personal calendars, your to-do lists. Most people have some form of this, even if it's not super structured. I'm a person who likes super structure. I laugh because I actually did a whole video about this last year. I'll link it below. It does give you the system that I use, and this shouldn't have changed much. I mean, you want to adapt it while you're using it, but you also don't need to fuss over it to the point where it distracts you from enabling you to do the things you want to do. Like you don't need to get better at recording that you're going to the gym. You can just need to go to the gym and to trust not the universe, but the systems I designed for myself over honestly like 4 or 5 years. We're just gonna let them work, let them fly. Number 7 is switch to better care products. Better doesn't necessarily mean more expensive or more obscure. I've also learned the last few years that not everything needs to come from Sephora or the fancy part of Shoppers Drug Mart. My Canadian girls know it's sometimes okay to get things from Walmart or, you know, discount places. Sometimes the most appropriate thing is the cheaper hand lotion you need to slather on about, 20 times a day if you live in a dry climate. The investment isn't so much in the products and like a higher price tag, but the investment is the time and figuring out what works best for you. And it's for health and it's for projecting a positive creative appearance. Number 8 is making meaningful spending choices. Biggest effort I made last year was not to go to Chapters Indigo. This boycott is entirely for IDF reasons. I'll link that below because I think it's an important cause to get out there, especially for book talk, booktube, rather than thinking, oh, I need to boycott everything, because that's very hard, especially if you have a society where there's a lot of like monopolies in different areas. So it's hard to like find things that aren't problematic. But I think this year I'm going to aim for Starbucks, just because, again, there's a whole tiresome conversation around boycotts and privilege. The workers, most of the time, are asking you not to go to a certain place. So there is one unionized Starbucks in Calgary. Much like there are many independent bookstores to support, there are many independent coffee shops. So it's more about supporting them. We're not here to judge, we're just here to try to use what we have, if that's privilege, if that's a few extra dollars, if that's another hour or two to consider your options. I think that's better for everyone. Number 9 is tracking my cycles. I say plural cycles, but I'm mostly referring to my menstrual cycle. If you're a person with a menstrual cycle, especially if you're a bit of an older person, again, I'm not a super old person, but a millennial or someone who was raised in the 90s and 2000s, you didn't get a lot of information about this. You pretty much have a menstrual cycle. Sometimes it happens, but I've since learned about there are actually 4 phases of your cycle rather than just kind of an on-off switch or whatever. There'll be days that are better for eating certain types of foods. There's days that are better for different kinds of exercise. I really anticipate this will be helpful in the next few years, since I'm, again, in my early 40s and perimenopause is either happening or around the corner. So that's going to be a whole journey. And the last topic is enjoying things that teenage me would have enjoyed. This one takes a little bit more explanation than maybe some of the others, since most people still like the things they liked as teenagers. Maybe they have that's often a time when you find your favorite music or kind of genres of TV shows or favorite activities or like social scenes. But sometimes I personally feel a little bit embarrassed that I still like things like, I don't know, dolls and toys and movies based on dolls and toys. I still love pop music, and I'm more into K-pop, and that's why it's like things that teenage me would have liked, not just did like. And again, I can appreciate people who are just coming up and are teenagers now, and also people who are maybe, literal senior citizens. I'm about to start a biography on Stevie next, so, there's all sorts of inspiration you can take from people of all ages. But the worst thing is to feel like it's not for you, or that you're embarrassed about liking something that you think, oh, well, kids like this, or teenagers like this, or old people like this. Like that doesn't matter as long as you find it engaging. There's a store I shop at sometimes because, again, it has like cute licensed characters on everything. But the store is Miniso, and their slogan is life is for fun. And I think that's super true. And maybe that sounds a bit basic, but none of the other points that I've discussed in this video really matter if you're not having fun and enjoying life. I mean, what's it all for? What's going to the gym and eating well and tracking your habits and showing up at social events? Like, what's that all building towards if you're not having a good time, if you're not doing meaningful work, if you're not engaging with like-minded people, or even people who have different opinions than you? That it all adds up. I don't think it needs to be deeper.